This special Halloween episode of Enchanted Tiki Talk is brought to you by Kingdom Strollers. Our premium stroller and crib rentals are delivered straight to your Disney or Orlando area resort. It couldn't be easier. Book yours at kingdomstrollers.com. And Mouse Pros. Let our travel specialists plan your next vacation. Our concierge level service gives you the perfect hassle-free vacation. Get your free quote from Sean or any of our magical agents at mousepros.com. And Mickey Monthly, the Disney Fans Monthly subscription box that brings the magic right to your door. Visit them at mickeymonthly.com. And by Woody's Sunglasses. Don't let glare ruin your magical view. These premium wood frame polarized sunglasses will let you tour the parks in style. Visit them at woodys.com. And now, it's Doom time.
Vahidi me kyonimana, ladies and gentlemen. No flashbulbs, please. Our performers are temperamental and easily upset. Thank you for your cooperation.
Oh, look at all the people.
My goodness, you're all staring at us. We better start the show rolling.
Wait. We forgot to wake up the Glee Club.
Hey, howdy, hey, and welcome to Enchanted Tiki Talk. We are your hosts. I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
I'm Matt.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Alan.
So grab yourself a Dole Whip or a citrus roll, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
This is episode 210 for the week of October 29th, 2017!
Welcome to the Enchanted Tiki Talk Halloween Spooktacular. I'm your host, David Benter. This week, I'm haunting your airwaves with my friend and co-host, Jordan Duncan.
Ghostly greetings, Dave. How are you?
Great, Jordan. How you doing?
Doing pretty well.
Now, Jordan, you also go by Jordan Gasly on social media, so, you know, I just wanted to make sure that the listeners knew that because they may know you only by that. I don't know, how often they get on there and see Jordan Duncan, but they might see Jordan Gasly, so.
Yep, on Twitter, and believe that's also my Instagram handle, and my YouTube page is all Jordan Gasly.
Right, so for the second time, Jordan and I are giving the boys a week off, and we're doing what we do best, and that's get spooky. You might remember Jordan got lost inside the mansion last time during our show that we did from Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party at Walt Disney World, and it's a good thing that he got out, right?
Right, and for the record, I was in there until about a month ago. You guys just left me there for 2 years. Hey, I have no idea how I survived with no food.
Yeah,
but stranger things have happened in the mansion.
You were kind of like in a different realm, so I wasn't really sure, exactly how to find you. I guess I could have, gotten a hold of Madame Leota or something, or talk to my good friend, Brother Dave, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was knocking on the walls. I was knock once for yes.
Is that what that was?
No. Yeah. That's what it was. I was there.
Okay,
well, code. It's crazy.
Yeah. Tonight we're going to talk a little about the Halloween parties and the differences, and we'll discuss some purported Halloween hauntings inside the Disney parks. And we asked our listeners a few questions that we'll have our own reactions to, and we'll read the listeners' reactions as well. And we'll get right to that after this quick break.
They thought it was over. But the horror is back. Welcome. This Halloween at Hong Kong Disneyland, people are losing their heads. Again. Lose your head at the dark side of Disney.
Okay, we're back. First, I want to congratulate Jordan and his new bride, Chelsea, on their recent marriage, and I know they had quite the ceremony and honeymoon.
Yes, my wife and I got married on the Disney Dream. It was a 4-day cruise. It was very nice. We got married in the atrium, and kind of keeping with the Halloween theme, the boat was decorated for Halloween, and there was a nice Halloween tree right next to where we stood to get married, and every night it bloomed more and more jack-o'-lanterns.
Oh, so, that's cool.
Yeah, I really liked it. But we did 4 days on the Disney Dream where we got married, and then we honeymooned in Disney World for an additional 5 days. So it was a really fun time all around.
I saw some pictures of that Halloween tree and, some of the ceremony and everything. Did they have any other Halloween-themed things on the boat while you're on there, or?
Every day, I guess they had an alcoholic drink of the day, and it was always Halloween-themed. I do remember one day it was called, like, Spooky Juice. It was like this little blue concoction with cherries for eyes. It almost looked like a Muppet. It was like a drink, but it looked like a Muppet. Right.
Nice.
And there were a lot of Halloween decorations, and there was Halloween on the high seas, and you could meet all of the Halloween characters. So Halloween Mickey, Halloween Minnie, so on and so.
So they're like dressed up in their costumes and stuff.
Yep.
Kind of like they do at the park. That's cool. So did you guys actually go to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party while you were there?
We did, and this was our first Halloween party since 2015, and we had a blast.
That's great. Awesome. Did you trick or treat, and did you dress up and everything?
I didn't dress up. She didn't dress up either, but she did decide to trick or treat, and she asked me if I wanted to, and at the time I just didn't feel like carrying around a bag of candy. But in retrospect, I probably should have just taken a whole bunch of free candy. So
she didn't go as her alter ego, Chelsea Gasly.
No, she was.
Because I'm assuming she must be. If you're Jordan Gasly, if that's your alter ego, then Chelsea must have Chelsea Gasly, right?
Of course. That's how I refer to her in my vlogs. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, all right. So we're going to get into some of these hauntings at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. The first one I'm going to start with, and these are, some of these are legends that have grown over the years, and who knows? Some may be true. Some may be made up and just over the years they've gotten legs and grown and story after story. But it's said in Disneyland that Walt Disney himself haunts the park. Most people know that he kept an apartment over the fire station on Main Street where he and his family would stay to enjoy the park. He would also get some work done there. And patrons would often see a light in the window, meaning that Walt was working at his desk. So after his death in 1966, the apartment remained empty, but employees still went up to dust it. One night, a woman went up there, and she was doing her usual cleaning routine, and she shut off the desk lamp and went downstairs. On Main Street, she noticed the light was still on. Thinking she had forgotten to turn it off, she went back to the apartment, shut off the light, and came back downstairs. Again, she looked back and saw the light was on. Thinking there was a short in the lamp, she went back into the apartment, unplugged the lamp, and left. Back down on Main Street, she looked up again and saw the light blink on, and the drapes pull back as if someone was looking down at her. There's that story's been around for quite a while, and I'm sure, Jordan, you've probably heard that over and over, maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's quite possibly the epitome of the ghost story in the Disneyland park. Yeah,
and it's cool to think that that he's probably there and looking over the park and everything, and now they keep that light on and everything, just so that he's always around. And then another story, there's been tales of people trying to surreptitiously sneak the ashes of loved ones into the haunted mansion. One woman snuck in her son's ashes, but the boy didn't want to be in the haunted mansion. He didn't want that to be his final resting place. And apparently you can now hear him sobbing as you exit the ride. So have you ever heard that one?
I've heard many of the spreading the ashes stories, and it's not just the haunted mansion. Like it's in a lot of the attractions in the park, which they obviously have a huge rule against that because, it's like a sanitation issue.
Oh, big deal.
Yeah. It's like, I'm just spreading ashes from a person.
I've heard that they actually have stopped the ride in order when they, if they see something like that in order to clean it up. So
right.
Take it pretty seriously.
Right. I've heard the exact same thing. Obviously something not to take lightly. But I've got a couple of quick stories here before I toss it back to you. So this one's not quite as spooky. But as your doom buggy travels by the ghostly ballroom scene, you may notice a large spider on the glass just before you pass into the attic. Well, in the 1970s, a man fired his gun at the glass. How this guy got a gun in Disneyland, I have no idea. But anyway, the glass glass turns out to be bulletproof. So it punctured the glass, but did not shatter it. Imagineers at the time found it too costly and time-consuming to replace the glass, so they covered it with a spider. I was unaware that was an option to hide your bullet holes in glass.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever noticed that one. I mean, it's been a while since I've been to Disneyland to see that, but I guess I'd have to ride back through it again.
Yeah,
I've
actually never been to Disneyland, so something that whenever I decide to take my first trip, I'll definitely keep an eye out for now.
Exactly.
I got another quick one here for you. It's no secret that decades ago, it was cheaper to use real skeletons as movie and amusement park props than to fabricate false ones. It's said that several of the skeletons on display in the ride when it opened in 1967 were real skeletons, donated when Imagineers had a hard time replicating said skeletons. The bodies were eventually replaced by props, but rumors persist that at least one skull and crossbones set, the one over the dead captain's bed, is still the real deal.
Do you believe that one?
I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. Go ahead.
The only problem I have with that one is the Imagineers having a hard time replicating skeletons. I mean, with all the stuff that they've done, right. It's just that kind of is far-fetched to me, but I don't know. So that kind of throws a red flag at it, but I guess
I can see where you're coming from. I guess if it were true, it would probably be like you said, like a cost-effective thing. Like, why make something when I can just go and buy it? Like that's just half the battle, right? I don't know. But surely this isn't the only story I've heard. I mean, I'm not too sure about you, but this is not the first story I've heard where human remains have been used as a prop in some kind of amusement attraction. Yeah,
I guess you're right about that. I mean, and certainly, back then it was a little bit kind of a different time, to a different era. So, the things that they don't find acceptable now could have been acceptable back then. But I don't know. We'll just have to kind of take that one as it is. All right, so a couple more for me, and this one is kind of interesting. It's said that a ghostly apparition wearing white Victorian clothing is said to wander down Main Street in Disneyland, helping lost children find their way to the baby care center. It's said to be the spirit of a woman who died at the site in the 1900s before the park was actually even built, but she's still connected to the land. Some have theorized that the old-timey feel of Main Street may have been why she remained. Like maybe that, just, all of a sudden attracted her. She, migrated herself over to that area because it made her feel like home or something,
Right. So. There's a familiarity to it. And, Dave, I don't think anyone has mentioned this as per this recording yet, but you and I are no strangers to the paranormal community.
Right. Exactly.
I'm a
paranormal.
Right. I mean, I'm a paranormal investigator with my team, Paranormal Georgia Investigations, but you and I also have a lot of mutual friends who are also in the paranormal field.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But, so this idea of a spirit or an entity or a ghost, whatever you want to call it, being attached to the land is something that's very commonly talked about in the paranormal field. So highly likely, like that could be the case.
Yeah, that one to me feels real. I never saw that apparition. I mean, I've been to Disneyland countless times, and that's not something. I mean, I don't think I have. I mean, who knows? I mean, she is wearing white Victorian clothing. Could be somebody you see her, you might think she's just dressed up and she's a cast member there. So
right.
So it'd be, unless you actually saw her, disappear in front of you, it would be kind of strange. And here's one that I actually experienced, which is grad night. It's an annual tradition in Los Angeles where immediately following your high school graduation, you're bussed out to Disneyland and you're given free reign over the park until 6 a.m. the next morning. I'm trying to think. I think it started like at 10 o'clock at night. And then it ends at 6 a.m., which was really cool for us because, me going to Disneyland as much as I did when I was a child and everything and, a teenager, it was really cool to be there overnight because that was the first time I ever experienced anything like that,
So where are those extra magic hours whenever I need them?
Well, let me tell you, it's kind of weird, though, because you've got so many. It's actually pretty crowded. because they bust in. I don't know how many schools come to this, but it's just like a huge amount. I mean, the parking lots are just full of buses. And so in 1966, one of these teenagers named Thomas Cleveland decided to sneak into the park by climbing across a monorail track. Now, I don't know why he's sneaking into the park. I don't know if he wasn't part of the regular kids that were supposed to be there. But it says, despite warnings from security guards, he tried to avoid the oncoming train by hiding beneath the track. There was only a few inches of clearance, and the train ran right over him, and he got sucked up into the mechanics. And the story goes that late at night, though not necessarily on grad night, a ghost can be seen running along the monorail track and disappearing at the very spot where Cleveland died. So,
that's a very interesting story. And you said you experienced this?
Oh, no. I experienced grad night. I didn't experience the actual ghost. But the grad night experience, pretty close to, having that type of experience of seeing a ghost. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's people are just going crazy. You think about a theme park full of teenagers just graduated from high school. I mean, go with that.
Right. So an interesting night, ghost optional.
Exactly, but definitely an interesting night. I had a blast though.
I bet. I kind of wish I had a grad night at Disney World. I did not. But I've got another couple of stories here for you and the listeners. I have another ashes story for you. Again, something incredibly common that happens all the time. Another family was caught sprinkling the ashes of a loved one inside the haunted mansion, but as cast members were unable to figure out who was doing it. That night, at closing, one of the cast members found some of the dirt in the Q graveyard disturbed. Upon closer inspection, the cast members discovered an empty urn engraved with "Rest in peace, our dearest Grandma Joyce." Allegedly, the urn spent several months sitting in the video surveillance room on the ride, until a couple of cast members took it up into the catwalk and set up a makeshift shrine to Grandma Joyce.
Wow.
Yeah.
Grandma Joyce.
Grandma Joyce, just hanging out at the haunted mansion.
We need to make up like a little epitaph for Grandma Joyce.
What would her rhyming scheme be?
Oh no, you put me on the spot on that.
I know. let's stir on it. Let's sit on it, and maybe by the time the episode comes out, we'll think of something.
Okay. Sounds good.
So I got another quick one, quick story for you. This tale is probably the most well-known of all of the ghost stories of Disney World. As the story goes, a young construction worker named George fell to his death while working on a high area of the Pirates building. Each day, cast members say good morning and good night to George over the PA system, and if they don't give him the respect he desires, it is sure to make a long day for them. The ghost is known. Yeah, right. I know, right? Don't make the ghost mad. Just the ghost is known to cause all sorts of mischief, such as shutting down the ride, causing breakdowns, making phone calls from an empty control room, and appearing on the ride monitors. Many guests have reported feeling the mysterious chill, especially in the room where the burning city, where it is believed George fell to his death. His favorite hangouts are rumored to be near the pirate with the pigs, under the bridge of the pirate with his leg hanging over, and near the door, it's also known as George's door, by the dog with the keys. Word of warning about George, there have been reports of guests going on Pirates of the Caribbean shouting that they don't believe in George and have later found themselves stuck on the attraction for long periods of time due to a breakdown.
Yeah. Well, George is very well known on social media with Disney fans. I know that. I don't think I've even come across one person who's a real Haunted Mansion fan, or even though this isn't Pirates of the Caribbean, that doesn't know something about George.
Right.
I mean, everybody's pretty much heard about George, and he's definitely got a spot in Disney lore.
No, I totally agree, and I also think this is a highly likely story, or this activity does exist.
Yeah.
I don't think people are fabricating this one. Yeah.
It all sounds like things that could happen. I mean, and I mean, he's popular for a reason. I mean, everybody knows who he is because there are so many reports and so many cast members have, had occurrences, with George. So,
right. So let me throw this at you, Dave.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the hypothesis of thought forms or tulpas?
No.
So it's basically this hypothesis in the paranormal community where it's almost like the power of thought. Like the power of your thought can manifest something. So,
okay.
Right. It's kind of like you're familiar with the haunting of the Queen Mary out west.
Absolutely.
Right.
I've been there.
Right. So Queen Mary is a really nice case study where it's one of those questions where is the place actually haunted from people that died there and are now haunting it, or is it haunted because we think people died there and we think people are haunting it? So we have this massive group, like this group thought of the Queen Mary being haunted, and is that then manifesting it to be haunted? Like, I wonder if this could be a case of, if George never existed and this is a total fabrication. Like, I wonder if it's just the idea that people think it's haunted and are now kind of running with the idea and is now manifesting itself to be haunted because people think that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility, I guess. Except they say they see him on monitors. So I don't know. I mean, an actual sighting.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, would that kind of like, fall under that category? Of something where it could be just the thought process.
It could be. It could.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have time to go into semantics, but
Right.
there's something similar. Yeah, there's
Okay.
similar talk about potential evidence that was caught on the Queen Mary of just the same manner of what we're talking
Okay.
about, George. So
Yeah.
you never know. But I tend to think that this might be a legitimate story of activity in the parks.
Well, whether it is or not, George is pretty well known, so I think that he's going to be there for a while.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And there's another pair of apparitions that are said to call the Pirates of the Caribbean home, and they are known as the Ladies. This mysterious duo is rumored to have met their untimely demise when the boat they were riding in came off the track at the bottom of the drop and crashed as they sat in the front row. And it's believed that they still linger in this area to this day and can sometimes be felt with a cold chill, which, okay, if I remember correctly, going down that drop at Pirates of the Caribbean, when you hit the water, there's the spray of the water, and I think I've felt a cold chill every time because I think you're going basically into a different room, which is probably a different temperature. Mm-hmm. So
you're also probably getting hit by water.
Well, definitely you get hit by water. Yes. So I don't know about that one. So we'll leave that to the listeners.
Yeah, jury's still out on that one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so with me.
All right. So I've got a few quick ones here. In this tale, many cast members working alone have said they have seen a quote-unquote man with a cane riding the attraction late at night. When spoken to, he does not respond and then disappears out of sight. Who's this mysterious man? He's said to be the ghost of a pilot that died when his plane crashed in the 1940s into what is now known as Bay Lake.
First thing I think about when I hear cane is the Hatbox Ghost, but we all know that the Hatbox Ghost isn't in Walt Disney World yet.
Right.
It never has been.
I mean, we don't know. Disney World is a big vacation place. He could be there.
He could. Leisure. Yeah, he could. Yeah, I think that they're known to bounce back and forth between, the parks.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if, I feel like a plane crash in the 1940s would be documented somewhere, especially in that area. I feel like we could probably back that up, or at least the story of the plane crash, with some kind of historical documentation.
Yeah, you would think, especially since they say that it's, it crashed right where Bay Lake is now. So, yeah, there would have to be some kind of documentation.
But Dave, let me take you back to the Haunted Mansion. So another spirit that is rumored to inhabit the Haunted Mansion is that of a little boy. Unlike the Disneyland ghost story of the little boy who cries while looking for his mother, this child appears to be happy and just rides the attraction alone, peering out from his doom buggy. There are a few photos that circulate, so I'm sure if you just Google Haunted Mansion little boy ghost.
I've seen that photo.
Yeah, I have too.
It's eerie looking.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, I mean, I don't know if it's just like a picture of a real boy or not, but the way it's taken and just the lighting and stuff, it's really eerie looking.
Right. So what's really interesting about that photo, and if I'm remembering correctly, his eyes are flashing. Like his eyes are kind of lit up. Now, there is no flash photography. Well, that's not stopping guests from taking flash photos on Haunted Mansion. Right. But if it was a flash photo, the rest of the photo wouldn't be in night vision.
You're right. Yeah.
So that one, jury's still out on that one for me. Like that one could be legitimate.
Yeah. Well, it kind of makes the hair stand up on your arms when you see it. If you think
right.
about it.
And of course, it adds like to the spookiness because you're on the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Well,
right.
I tell you what, if I saw that, it would freak me out.
If
I was there and I thought I was by myself.
Yeah. You know what? I'm right there with you. Yeah. Same. And one last quick one over here. For years, guests that venture out over to Tom Sawyer Island have reported getting an unnerving feeling and seeing shadowy figures in the tunnels and caves of the attraction.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah. I've actually seen full-bodied shadows on investigations. But two places that I've investigated, two notorious places that I've had the good fortune to investigate was Waverly Hills Sanatorium, which is the old tuberculosis ward in Louisville, and I have seen full-bodied shadows just walking up and down halls. And in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, there's the old South Pittsburgh Hospital, and I think out of all the places I've investigated, that place in particular has had the most activity, and I've seen things block out light. Like I've seen shadows that have masks that block out light.
Yeah, so, I've heard lots of stories about that hospital. My buddy Chris Maggard, who's a paranormal investigator, he's got his own group. That place, he says that place is one of the most haunted places he's ever been to, for sure.
Luckily, I don't live too far from it. I'm about an hour and a half away, and it's almost an annual trip for myself and members of my team. I have many interesting stories that could fill up 2 hours of a podcast.
Well,
so
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, so we'll carry on.
Okay, got a couple more here. And this story tells the tale of a little girl with blonde hair and a young boy that are often seen playing together in front of the attractions as well as riding together. Now, take that for what it is, but that could be just about anything.
Right.
Yeah. But in this story, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is said to be haunted by a former bellhop or cast member that died during his shift on one of the loading platforms. The story goes that the bellhop ghost is known to appear on Platform D, flicker lights, and freeze the attraction when cast members are trying to do the final ride at the end of the day. Many cast members have reported seeing a figure late at night in the theater after it closed. And when they approach him to escort him out, the apparition disappears. Interesting.
So, a funny story about the Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
And this is the Disney World Tower of Terror, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I swear, on one of my first trips to Walt Disney World, in the recent past, might have been 2011, might have been 2012. When the ride mechanism finally loads into the elevator and then they take you up and then the doors open for the first time, but when the doors open, it's not the window to the park. You're just seeing the other side of the ride structure and it's just pitch black.
Right.
I swear up and down that those doors opened and I saw a person to the left just standing there. I didn't see detail. It could have been a worker just hanging out on the 5th floor of the Tower of Terror. I don't know. But when the doors opened, I swear I saw a full figure just standing there. I didn't see any kind of detail on clothing. I just saw a person. And then the doors closed. And then I immediately turned to Chelsea and I said, "Did you see that guy that was standing there?" And she said, "No." Now, we're also in the middle of a Disney ride, so our minds are not, "Hey, I'm looking for ghosts." Right. But I swear I saw somebody, and she didn't see the person. I didn't ask anyone else that was on the ride, but who knows? Like, I think that's kind of an interesting story.
So was it just like your depth perception? I mean, was it just a dark figure, or could you actually see like difference in lighting from clothing or something?
It was definitely a difference in lighting. Like the figure was definitely darker than the back portion of, like, I guess, this wall that I was looking at, because because you're a couple floors up, or is where the doors open up and the light starts to seep in. So I had a little bit of light seeping in. I swear I just saw a figure. A person, it was definitely a person. I just don't know.
But they were wearing dark clothing, though.
Yeah, I couldn't make out what exactly it was they were wearing. Right. So to me, that could I feel like I would believe this story. Among some of the other ones.
Well, that's pretty interesting. I mean, and just to give you my one experience that I've had with the paranormal and this was at Disneyland. When my friends and I, we were in high school still, and we used to go and, we would almost every time we would go to Disneyland, we would stop and get like a fritter and a mint julep. And that was just something that, that we did just about every time we went there, just to, take a break from the attractions and everything. And the first time that we did that, I had never had a mint julep before, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted one. So I just got a fritter. My friend got his usual mint julep, and he let me take, a sip of his. And I said, wow, that's pretty good. And I just noticed this cast member to the side of us, and he said, they're pretty good, aren't they? Like that. And I said, yeah, I think I'm going to get one. And he goes, yeah, I'd recommend that. So, and he was an older guy. And so I went back in line and I got it. And I was actually going to go back to him and talk to him a little bit more and, say, hey, thanks for, turning me on to it a little bit and, recommending that I get it and stuff and everything. And he wasn't there. And so there was another cast member, a younger one, I asked, I said, hey, do you know where this guy went? And I described him and everything. And she said, we don't really have, I don't know of anybody who's worked over here all day long or early this evening, by that description. It's just, me and my other friend here. And so, it kind of gave me chills, I started thinking, well, that's kind of weird, Right. I mean, did I just see a ghost, or this guy just disappeared? Because it was like, I turned right back around after getting it and he was gone. And, then there's this other cast member, saying, we don't have anybody who works here like that.
Isn't that like the classic ghost story though?
It is,
like,
yeah.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But he was just here.
Right. Exactly. That's what I was thinking to myself, but he was just here. I just talked to him, And but whether or not it was a ghost, I don't know. But that's probably my only personal experience that would come close to, an actual paranormal sighting or experience.
Speaking of paranormal sightings, I have one more to throw your way.
Okay.
And this is something that you can look up on YouTube.
Okay.
If you just go to YouTube and type in Disneyland Ghost Light Ball, and you'll be prompted, or you'll bring up this video. And this is after hours, so there's nobody in the park, or at least nobody that we know of. I'm sure security was probably hanging around. But there's a series of security cameras, and on this series of security cameras, there's this ball of light that just seems to be following this walking path. And you see it illuminate brighter and then dimmer and then brighter on and off as it goes. But you see it go through this walking path. But not only is it going through this walking path, but you'll see it pop up on the next security camera.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. And it kind of like walks through a gate or something?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I've seen that. Yeah, that definitely looks real to me.
Yeah, and I'm well aware that it's 2017. We live in an era where a lot of laptops and computers have special effects programs built into them. It's probably easy to debunk, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to debunk. I feel like the fact that it's following a certain path, and that it kind of brightens and then dims and then brightens again, I feel like I would probably lean more to this being some kind of legitimate paranormal activity in the park.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting piece of video. So for the listeners, if you just go to YouTube and type in Disneyland Ghost, I'm sure this video will pop up, or at least be one of the first ones that pop up. And I don't know, why don't you send a tweet to Dave or myself and tell us what you think?
Yeah, definitely. It's a pretty interesting video, and I think that that most of our listeners would enjoy seeing that. Especially if you've been to the park and walked down that pathway. I mean, it's crazy to see it go from camera to camera and then just go through this gate and disappear. And it's like, whoa, that's nuts.
Yeah, jury's still out, but I tend to believe that one.
Yeah, I think so too. So that's going to bring us to the differences between the two Halloween parties at Disneyland Park and at the Magic Kingdom. And believe it or not, there are differences. And probably, to me, the most glaring difference is going to be the names, because in California, they call it Mickey's Halloween Party. And in Orlando, they call it Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So I don't know if that means that the one in Disneyland Resort is scarier, or, it's just probably a name, I guess.
Could be. You never know.
You never know. But so I'm going to go over some of the things with the Mickey's Halloween Party at the Disneyland Resort. And it just so happens that this year they've expanded it not only to the Disneyland Park, but also to California Adventure Park, which is pretty cool. And one of the other big differences is at Disneyland Resort, they don't start theirs until September 15th. And that's, I think, basically because of the switch over to the Haunted Mansion Holiday, with the Haunted Mansion there. And it runs to October 31st. You can buy a park hopper ticket for $95. And like I said, California Adventure Park is getting in on it this year. And the theme that they have there is kind of like Oogie Boogie has taken over the park. And he's got some kind of a evil plan that he casts over the park. So, like Buena Vista Street is decked out with bats, and in like Carthay Circle, the bell tower, there's like bats all over that. There's a headless horseman statue there, that breathes steam out its nostrils and everything. It's pretty cool. Radiator Springs. Now I've seen pictures of this, and it's probably one of the coolest looking things. I wish I could go see this. But Radiator Springs becomes Radiator Screams. There's a Halloween at Fillmore's Yard of ghostly folk art, and Sarge's Pumpkin Patch. And let's see, Flo's V8 Cafe is covered with like big spider webs and spiders and stuff. Some of the cars that are in the park are made up like Halloween, in Halloween costumes. Like Tow Mater is a vampire, and you've got other ones decked out in Halloween garb and stuff. The Guardians of the Galaxy features Monsters After Dark. You've got Luigi's Honkin' Halloween, Mater's Graveyard Jamboree at the Haunted Hootenanny. Of course, Jack Skellington takes over the Haunted Mansion with his Haunted Mansion Holiday. Some people don't like that. And believe it or not, as many times as I've been to Disneyland, I've never experienced the Haunted Mansion Holiday. They started doing that after I moved to Ohio.
I've never been to Disneyland, so I've never experienced it. I've seen pictures. And this is probably just my opinion, and it might even be an unpopular opinion. Now, I love the Haunted Mansion. Obviously, it's my favorite attraction in Disney World. And I love the movie Nightmare Before Christmas.
Which I do too.
Right. But I also feel like if I made the pilgrimage to go to Disneyland in October, like I would kind of want to see the mansion in its, like for the mansion, not with
its pristine state.
Right, for Halloween. Because I feel like that's the Haunted Mansion's time to shine, right?
Right, yeah.
No, but I also realize the appeal of Haunted Mansion Holiday, and I've never experienced the attraction, so it could replace the Haunted Mansion as my new favorite attraction. I don't know, but there's a little part in the back of my head where I'm like, man, I just kind of want to see the ghosts, though.
Yeah, I think that especially if you've never been to the Haunted Mansion, you would actually want to see it in its pristine state. And Haunted Mansion Holiday. Around Halloween, I guess it's kind of cool because. Nightmare Before Christmas, it's kind of Halloween themed, obviously. So you've got a lot of jack-o'-lanterns all hanging around and stuff like that. And, other spooky things. So I guess I've heard opinions on both sides. So, it's just going to be like a personal thing.
I guess so.
Yeah. But yeah, and I mean they've got things like Space Mountain turns into the Ghost Galaxy.
That's something I want to see.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'd like to see that. Then you've got the fireworks are called Halloween Screams fireworks, and the parade is actually called Frightfully Fun Parade. And one thing that I think would be kind of cool is they've got a Main Street Pumpkin Festival. So they've got like hundreds of hand-carved jack-o'-lanterns on display. I mean, these are like, jack-o'-lanterns that people have actually carved with their own hands and stuff,
right.
And they're like hanging out on Main Street. So
That's
I think
cool.
that'd be,
I'd like to see that too.
That would definitely be cool. And lastly, they've got a Happiest Haunts walking tour, and it's an extra cost. It's like $85 for 2 hours of this walking tour, and apparently you're taken back to the roots of Halloween. They share ghost stories of Disneyland Park, probably like we have tonight. You search for treats, and you encounter what they say tricks. You visit a character from the Haunted Mansion, probably one of the hitchhiking ghosts, because they usually represent the Haunted Mansion and everything. You learn about spirits and characters and their creators from the Haunted Mansion and films throughout the years. So, I don't know, you probably see like artwork from Mark Davis or something like that. And these tours happen, they actually start September 5th through the 31st of October, and they begin at 4 p.m. So I guess you're there like, it's just like during while the park's open. And if you're an annual pass holder or a DVC member, you can get a 15% discount. So that'd be kind of cool. They also give you a delicious treat, a special collectible pin, and a credential to commemorate the tour. So like it's probably like a little credential on a lanyard, which is kind of neat,
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that discount key holder comes in handy, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. Which I'm not, but for those of you that are, every little bit counts, as we know.
Right.
So what do you got over at Walt Disney World then for us?
Well, we mentioned earlier that I just recently went to the Not So Scary Halloween party, and
yes, you did.
And we went on a great night. It wasn't crowded. The lines were a little bit of a wait, but nothing longer than 10 minutes. So
yeah.
But as far as what Not So Scary offers in contrast to the Halloween party at Disneyland. This one actually starts a bit earlier, August 25th, and you had mentioned that it was the September 15th, I believe it was. Right.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned probably because of the overlay. Well, there's no overlay at Disney World, so you get Halloween starting August 25th. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of Halloween starting so soon. I am not one of those people.
Me neither.
Halloween could start in June, and I'll be more than happy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it runs until November 1st, Dia de los Muertos, if I remember correctly. It's Magic Kingdom only, and some of the special things that they have going on. This is the third year that they're doing the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular, which I believe they do it at least 2 times a night, the weather depending. And I would just like to personally say I am super happy how this new generation of Disney fans have embraced Hocus Pocus.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
I love the film, and it's funny because I remember seeing the film in the theater when it came out, and it was a summer release. Like, I guess they didn't have enough faith in it, unless they wanted it out on VHS for October for sales. But I like the fact that Hocus Pocus is now being embraced by Disney, and they're giving us some pretty cool merchandise as far as like T-shirts and et cetera, as well as this show. So I'm kind of hoping this show sticks around a few more years at least.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say is my wife and I, we've been married for 17 years, and we watched that movie every Halloween night and without fail. And our kids are into it and everything. And I'm kind of proud of the fact that, we were in that movement before Disney even realized, hey, we've got something here. Let's do something with it,
Right. I actually watched it today. So.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I had to get ready. I had to prep myself for the podcast, right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, and it's funny because I have a Hocus Pocus T-shirt, and whenever I'm at the store, I have I'm 34, so I have some people who are a bit younger will be like, "Oh, I really like your shirt." I'm like, "Oh, thanks," and they're like, "Man, I really like that movie." And then I say, "Yeah, I remember seeing it in the theater." And then the response I get more often than I'd like to admit "Oh, I thought that movie was made for the Disney Channel."
Oh,
So, because that's how
wow.
they experienced it. They experienced it on the
Yeah.
Disney Channel.
Right.
Funny story, it was actually originally meant to be a Disney Channel's movie, but then they decided to give it the bump up for a theatrical release.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Yeah.
Well, you heard about the remake that they're thinking about doing, right? That was just
Yeah.
announced.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings because
Well,
the original
especially-
cast might be there.
Well, yeah, especially because you've got the original 3 Sanderson sisters, all saying that they would come back for
Right.
A sequel, and so
Right.
now this decision to go a different direction just kind of perplexes a lot of the fans. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm of the mind of like, show me what you got. If you can
Right.
give me a good story, then sure. I mean, it's not going to make me
Oh.
dislike the original one.
exactly,
less.
yeah. I mean, anything. I'm all for anything, really.
Yeah, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
But let's see. So in addition to the Hocus Pocus show, we have the Happy Hallowishes fireworks show, which are personally my favorite fireworks on property. I
Yeah,
love
that's
that
pretty cool.
show.
Mhm.
But they also do the Boo to You Halloween parade twice a night. Again, weather permitting. And probably one of my favorite things to do at the Not So Scary Halloween party is track down the Cadaver Dan's Barbershop Quartet.
Oh yeah, they're cool.
I love seeing the Cadaver Dans, and I keep sending tweets to Disney World saying, hey, if you recorded the Cadaver Dans and put out an album, I would probably buy it, and so would thousands of other people.
Oh,
So
man.
I'm still patiently waiting my Cadaver Dans debut album.
Well, if that ever happens, then you heard it first here, and you know who to credit.
Right. just a guy with a Twitter page.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be Disney World if they didn't offer any kind of cool treats, right?
Right.
So they have, during the Halloween party, they have specific Haunted Mansion treats, and each one looks like one of the stretching paintings
Yeah.
in the stretching room there. But each one, there's one for each painting, but they're all different flavors, and the different flavors
cool.
are escaping me at the time. But they kind of make you work for it, because you can only get a certain one in a certain area of Disney World. So you have to go to Tomorrowland to get one, and so on and so forth.
And I hear they sell out quickly too.
Yeah. I went
That's
on
what
a
I'm
wild
hearing.
goose chase.
Oh man.
At Sleepy Hollow, they have the Mickey's Pumpkin Waffle.
Mm.
So that's, if you're a pumpkin fan, which I do, I like pumpkin to an extent. There's a Jack Skellington treat, which seems to be some kind of chocolate vanilla stacked on top of each other twice, kind of small cake.
Oh.
Yeah, and something that I'm kicking myself for not getting was the Mickey-shaped cinnamon roll from the confectionery.
Oh. Yeah.
And I instantly regretted it whenever I walked out of the park. I said I did not get that cinnamon roll.
Yeah, cinnamon rolls are great.
Right. But something that Chelsea got that I had a bite of, and it was actually much better than it sounds, is the candy corn ice cream.
Oh, the soft serve? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't mind candy corn. I actually enjoy it, but I can only have it in small doses. And I thought that it would be too sweet, but no, it's actually like just sweet enough. So
Awesome.
there's really no way I can describe it. Like you just kind of have to try it. There's vanilla mixed in there with some other flavors. I can't really describe it. You just kind of have to go out. Hey, go buy a ticket to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, and have the candy ice cream.
Yeah, I mean that has always sounded good. And then something they have this year that I haven't found anyone that has actually tried it yet, and that's the pumpkin cheesecake mound, I think they call it.
Yeah, I haven't tried that either.
Yeah, no one that I've talked to, every time I ask him, like Sean, I asked him if he tried it. No, I didn't try it. So I don't know, but that sounds pretty good too. I mean, I love cheesecake and I love pumpkin. So
if any listeners have tried it, why don't you send us a tweet and give us your review?
let us know how it is.
Yeah.
Dying to know.
Something else for dessert. You mentioned that Disneyland offered an upcharge for a walking tour. Well, Disney World or Magic Kingdom has the Happy Hallowishes dessert party, and it's an extra upcharge, but you get all of these desserts at this party, and you get preferred standing and seating for Hallowishes.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm unaware of how much it costs. I do know it is an upcharge. Some other things that you can do, and I'll kind of run through these pretty quick.
Okay.
Jack Skellington and Sally are out to take photos at the Halloween party. This is the only time you can see Jack as Jack Skellington, and I believe this is the only time all year you get to see Sally. So the line for them, I remember we waited in line for them a couple of Halloween parties ago, and it was about a 2.5 hour wait just to get a picture with them.
Holy cow!
Right,
Frozen or something.
No, no joke, right? But if you go to the Christmas party, you get to see the Sandy Claus version of Jack Skellington.
Oh,
so
awesome.
So you can see Jack in another part in the parks in another part of the year. But if you want to see actual Pumpkin King Jack Skellington, Halloween party is the place you got to do it.
Cool, man.
Man, people come dressed up in great costumes for this party. Like all the guests, all the guests. We already mentioned the trick or treating. You get tons of free candy. But I think one of my favorite parts of the Halloween party is Main Street. Like right as you walk in, there's a whole bunch of jack-o'-lantern scarecrows and there's that giant jack-o'-lantern. But I really love how Main Street is just lit up, and they're playing things like "This Is Halloween" and "Grinning Ghosts," and the lighting all over the park. It's kind of insane how a big difference the lighting makes. You just
I like the Mickey pumpkin heads. I like the Mickey pumpkin heads that are up on the lanterns.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I love it.
So iconic, you know.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And of course, there's exclusive merchandise. This year, I believe it was they had this really cool new artwork for Mickey and all the pals. And I almost picked up the shirt. I didn't, and I kind of regret it. But Chelsea is a pin collector, and
cool.
We're also annual pass holders. So she had to go for the Halloween party exclusive annual pass holder pin.
Nice.
Which I believe was Hades this year. So,
yeah, I think I saw a picture of that. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. But that does it for me. For at least a handful.
I didn't get anything from this year's Halloween party. Last year, I'm actually wearing last year's T-shirt that I got. I cheated and bought it off the Disney Parks Shop Disney Parks app.
It counts. I'll allow it.
Yeah, but I didn't buy anything this year, so I don't know. I still might, but haven't done it yet. But you never know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to bring us to our segment of the show where we asked our listeners to give some reactions to questions that we proposed on Facebook, and many of you reciprocated and went on Facebook and gave us a little list of things to read, so we're going to read them. So my first one, well, actually, I guess I should tell you what our questions are. We asked what favorite part of the Haunted Mansion was your favorite part, your least favorite part of the Haunted Mansion, your favorite Haunted Mansion souvenir, and your favorite mansion memory. Now, this could be any one of the mansions. So our first listener is Leanne Beamdollar. And for number one, her favorite part is Little Leota. She says that she used to scare me to death. And then her least favorite part is the attic. It used to be my favorite, but the bride now is just not as spooky and looks a tad ridiculous to me. Ha! I am old, so I like the old bride with the beating heart, much spookier. Her favorite souvenir is her very old sweatshirt, which is glow in the dark with Mickey and friends in a doom buggy. I know which one she's talking about. I've got a magnet of that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And her favorite memory is of her dad carrying a map, and her sister and mom were in the doom buggy in front of them. And when you turn at the end of the backwards staircase, you're very close to that buggy in front of you. And he slapped my mom's leg, and she screamed so loud, best ever. That's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay, and then Corbett Harrell sent in for the favorite part of the mansion is the subtler shadow effects, like the piano player and the hand across the clock. I agree with that. Least favorite part is the fall from the attic. It's uncomfortable to lay back in the doom buggy. Favorite souvenir is glow-in-the-dark hitchhiking ghost magnets, which I've seen on my Shop Park set, but I have not bought yet. But I've been thinking about it. And favorite memory, not sure if it's necessarily a favorite, but when my wife and I were dating, I snuck up to the Magic Kingdom to buy her the park's exclusive Pandora band and charms for our anniversary. I had just a little time before I had to head back for the hour-and-a-half drive before she got home from work, so I decided to do the mansion. But it got stuck in the graveyard, and I was next to the singing bus, making me worry if I'd get back in the car in time. Luckily, it restarted after about 10 minutes, and there I was rushing back to the parking lot and home. It wasn't quite enough time, though, because she could smell Disney on me, and I had to come clean. Nice.
Oh, man. Like,
nothing like being caught. Like, oh, where have you been, honey? Oh, nowhere.
You smell of Disney.
You've been at Disney, haven't you? You've been in the Haunted Mansion. That's hilarious. Our next one comes from Shannon Esper. And she says, I love the ballroom scene and try to find little things I've never noticed before. I also really love the interactive queue and the riddle with my family of busts, or with the family of busts. So she's talking about the Dread family there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Least favorite part is when you leave the stretching room and people are pushing through trying to get on the ride first. I wish they had a better system for that, but it doesn't change the fact that the Haunted Mansion is my favorite ride. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. There's a lot of pushing going on there.
Yeah.
It
does have a bottleneck there.
Yeah, definitely. And let's see, as far as her favorite souvenir, it's hard to choose. Probably the Jim Shore Hatbox Ghost, but I also love my Hatbox Ghost sweatshirt and Hitchhiking Ghost ornament. And the memory, when I was younger, I was fine during the whole ride, but then I got really scared at the end because I thought a real ghost really went home with you. Wow. Well, I thought they did. Don't they do that?
Right. That'd be false advertisement if it didn't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And let's see. Okay, I got one more here before I kick it over to you, and that's from Jamie Price. Imagining the hanging body in the stretching room suddenly voiding his bowels on unsuspecting guests. Kidding. Yeah. Maybe he's kidding. I love the Pepper's ghost effects, so that's his favorite part of the mansion. And his least favorite is that stupid miniature bride near the end of the ride. It just doesn't fit. I mean, of course, he's talking about Little Leota.
Right.
His favorite souvenir is his magic photo picture from our last visit, and he actually sent in a picture of that photo, and that is so cool.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Cool. Him and his wife there with two of the Dread family busts. Pretty cool. And then his favorite mansion memory is his 3-year-old kept insisting we go on the Haunted Mansion. We went 3 times. Every time he demanded to skip the stretching room and just go on the ride. Every time I told him we couldn't. And every time he dug his fingernails into my neck out of fear. But it's still his favorite ride. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have a handful here.
Okay.
And so we'll kick it off. So the first response I have is from Trenton Nisbet. And his favorite part of the Haunted Mansion is the graveyard scene.
Yeah.
His least favorite part, I love the graveyard scene. How can you not like the graveyard scene?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Wait, you know what? If I'm remembering correctly, your buddy, Brother Dave, might be hanging out in that graveyard scene somewhere.
Yeah, I believe so. He's in the graveyard outside, and he's probably in the graveyard inside somewhere.
Yeah. So his least favorite part of the Haunted Mansion is, he says, to be honest, the stretching room, mostly because of other guests screaming and pushing. And I kind of agree with this. As much of a fan of the Haunted Mansion as I am when you're in the stretching room, it kind of bugs me when people want to talk the monologue.
Yeah, they recite it along with it. Yeah.
Which
makes you want to kick in the shins.
Right. Like, again, like, I love the Haunted Mansion too, but man, like, what if that was your first time on the Haunted Mansion? And somebody was just saying, they were like, I don't know, like, I feel like it would take away from the experience. So, like, I can agree with this one.
Well, I think that happens like 50% of the time for me.
Oh man, yeah,
honestly, it's all the time.
It happened 100% of the time for me in my last trip, sadly.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, it got pretty bad. So his favorite Haunted Mansion souvenir says his personalized face-changing holographic picture, which you can take it.
Yeah. Nice.
I still haven't done that. I want to do one.
I haven't either.
Favorite mansion memory for him was the first time riding it as a young kid and having the stretching room truly freak me out, is what he says. So we're going to move over. Another listener, Living with the Magic. Favorite part of the Haunted Mansion, the ballroom scene. That's a good one.
It is a good one.
Least favorite part of the Haunted Mansion, the creepy lady at the very end telling me to hurry back. So that's
Leota.
Yeah, for little
Leota again. Leanne likes Little Leota though.
It just says favorite Haunted Mansion souvenir, and I guess it accidentally got cut off because I don't have the actual mansion souvenir. Yeah. Oh well. But we'll move on to the favorite mansion memory. Getting a backstage tour and learning how the ballroom scene worked, as well as seeing the sound equipment that operates the whole park.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, man, I don't know. I don't know if I would want to take that tour. I don't want to know how it works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I've seen so many things about it, like documentaries and, things on YouTube and things like that. I mean, I guess that probably doing the tour, it's not going to change anything for me on it. But yeah, I mean, I just, stuff like that. When I go into the Haunted Mansion, I put everything is out of my head and I'm just concentrating on what's in front of me, looking around. And it's, so I guess I kind of, in a way, I kind of transport myself there and just, put all that other stuff, out of my head that, hey, this isn't
You're in the here and now.
Yeah. This isn't like, the creation of Imagineers. This is real,
Right. No, I'm with you. Yeah. All right. So, Lauren Krozek Tadaro says that her favorite part of the mansion is the little details strewn about that tell the bigger story, like the boat painting, which alludes to the original concept for the ride as a pirate ghost attraction.
Interesting.
Yeah. And her least favorite part is the Doom Buggy lap bar. She can never remember if the bar comes down, or if she puts the bar down, or if it goes down by itself. So, and let's see, hers got cut off.
Well, the ghost host tells you though that he's going to do it, doesn't he?
Right. So, but you can never remember.
He'll tell you. Don't worry.
Yeah. every time you get in that Doom Buggy, he will.
Yeah.
The favorite Haunted Mansion souvenir. She says the Haunted Mansion sweater my 4-year-old wears year-round. Knowing she shares the same fandom as her nerdy parents makes us happy. We may not.
That kid.
Yeah. Give that kid a high five for me. We may not be cool in 10 years, but right now we are. So
nice. Yeah.
And her favorite mansion memory: asking a cast member to show us the rumored wedding ring. The cast member let us go behind the rope to go look and take a photo. She's referring to the little ring that's embedded in the cement in the queue out front,
right?
And that made it look like the bride's wedding ring.
Yes.
And riding Haunted Mansion at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, surrounded by people in costumes. So I can't disagree on that one. I was just there.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Megan Marilyn says favorite part of Haunted Mansion is the ballroom. I remember watching documentaries on how Disney created the ghosts as a kid, and one of the first touches of Disney magic unveiled to me. Number 2, her least favorite, is the tacky masks that pop up behind the graveyards. Not very Disney-esque. Looks like they were bought at Party City. So,
the ones that pop up and scream at you.
Right, the ones that just kind of pop up on a.
Those frightened me when I was a kid, man.
Yeah. Let's see, favorite Haunted Mansion souvenir. She collects coffee mugs from Disney, so any of those. And I have to agree, I have a couple Haunted Mansion coffee mugs myself.
Yep, we got a whole cabinet full.
Yeah, and favorite Haunted Mansion memory. The time my younger brother went on the ride, approximately 1997, he saw the ghosts in the mirror at the end of the ride. I think it was possible for him to crawl inside my mother. I think if it was possible for him to crawl inside of my mother, that's where he would have found them. So that definitely left a mark.
You didn't like that?
Yeah. So David Andrew, his favorite memory is, or his favorite part is the graveyard that can't be beat. I still find new things after 30 years of park travels. Yeah, I agree with this one. The least favorite part, the exit. I hate to leave. I'm right there with you, David. I'm on top of that one. Yeah. So his favorite Haunted Mansion souvenir is the Doom Buggy license plate I picked up right after buying a new black truck in 2004. It's still on my front bumper. And favorite mansion memory, taking my kids on the ride to finish out Mickey's Not So Scary in 2016. My 6 and 3-year-old were scared of the fog and the queue as it was enhanced for the party, but we're having a blast by the end. And let's see, Denise Craik Watson, her favorite part of the Haunted Mansion is the ballroom, especially the hidden Mickey in the dining table. Her least favorite part is people screaming in the stretching room. Yes, Denise, high five. The favorite Haunted Mansion souvenir is the blueprint plates that you can buy. I believe you can get them at Memento Mori. And favorite memory is riding with my adult son. It's his favorite ride. So,
smart guy.
Yeah. And I believe you have one left to read for us, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Well, let's see. No, I've got 3 more.
Okay, go for it.
3 more. Okay, Jesse Fouts. His favorite part is the ballroom, and his least favorite part of the Haunted Mansion is the final exit. There's another one of those. Hatbox Ghost Ornament is his favorite souvenir, and his favorite memory is getting stuck just before the graveyard scene and getting to take in all the details and names. Yeah, because that's, I mean, basically when you're going through, you know, the graveyard scene and everything, there's so much to look at, and you really do go through there pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's kind of hard to, you know, get a glimpse of everything as you're going through. At least I find it hard to do. You know, so I try to look at like a couple things really intently. Ethan Grisham, number 1, he's saying tough call. I want to say the ballroom organist is one of my favorite ghosts, but the graveyard is always a winner as his favorite. And I agree with that. That's kind of a tough call. Let's see. His least favorite is more so guest behavior than the mansion itself. People pushing and adding their own screams in the stretching room and the boarding area. So yeah, it's another stretching room. Either his mansion mug with the wallpaper pattern or the epitaph coasters is his favorite souvenir. And then going through the first time as a child with my parents, mostly looking through my fingers, but the beating heart bride has always stuck with me, and I honestly like her mysterious, tragic vibe when compared to the more on-the-nose personality of Constance as his favorite memory. And then last but not least, we have Ashley Withers, and her favorite is the ballroom scene. And the least favorite is the staircase to nowhere. I agree with her on that. Not that I dislike it, just isn't exciting. I totally agree with you. Mm-hmm. I have a hitchhiking ghost ornament that I love, and my husband and I were at the parks with his adult cousin, and we were getting ready to ride the Haunted Mansion and had some miscommunication about how we were going to divide up the ride in separate doom buggies. Okay, and 3 adults ended up smushed in the same buggy the entire ride, and we couldn't stop laughing throughout the whole thing. So basically, their most memorable part of the Haunted Mansion or experience in the Haunted Mansion was being squished into a doom buggy. So what do you think about that? I mean,
man, you still got to make room for that ghost at the end too. You just
I know. How do you fit? I don't know. How do you fit the ghost in there? The ghost is probably like, where am I supposed to sit? You know?
Right.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. So what about you, Jordan? What would your list be on that?
Oh,
like your favorite, your least favorite.
So, all right, well, we'll just take them 1 to 4. I think my favorite part of the mansion, it's a toss-up between the ghostly organist, where you see his shadow on the floor, but when you look at the organ, you just see the keys moving by themselves. I always like that. That's a very nice touch. And also, you can't go wrong with the ballroom scene. It's probably one of my favorite scenes on any Disney attraction ever. So it's a toss-up between those two for my favorite part. My least favorite part, if I'm talking about the mansion itself, I agree. I think the staircases to nowhere, it's just kind of, it's very MC Escher-esque. And it's just staircases going to nowhere. But I also have to agree. I think my least, probably if I had to decide, just the people talking along with the intro in the stretching room. That's always the worst. So my favorite Haunted Mansion souvenir. I am a record collector, and recently Disney released picture disc vinyl LPs of some classic attractions, and the pictures are all of the old posters.
Oh yeah, cool.
Poster art is pressed onto them. So this last trip, I actually picked up the Haunted Mansion soundtrack for the ride, not the Eddie Murphy film. The Haunted Mansion attraction soundtrack that has this picture that's it's pressed with this picture on it. So that's pretty cool. I'm probably gonna frame it after I listen to it once or twice. But man, favorite Haunted Mansion memory. Just any time I'm on the Haunted Mansion, like I'm just happy. Like I can't really pick one, because anytime I'm on the Haunted Mansion, like everything stops, and I think that's what I'm doing. Like I'm paying attention to the mansion. So anytime I'm there, that's just being on the ride is a favorite memory.
What about being stuck in the mansion like you were?
That was pretty funny. we were actually stuck right at the beginning of the graveyard scene when the doom buggy is backwards, and we're right on that incline. And it didn't bother me. Like, I mean, the music loops every 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
When the crib doors creak and
Yeah. I was actually talking about like our last show when you actually got stuck in the haunted mansion. Like,
well, listen.
I mean, what more of a memory could that be?
You learn a lot about the haunted mansion whenever you're there for 2 years. Just hanging out with us.
Yeah. All right. Well, my favorite part of the haunted mansion. Now I'm going to have to go back and forth between the two mansions because, I can't ignore the Disneyland haunted mansion because I spent so much time there.
Right.
I can't ignore the Magic Kingdom haunted mansion because that's where I go now, and that's where my alter ego lives. So my favorite part of the haunted mansion, I'm just going to go ahead and pick the graveyard scene because both mansions are pretty much literally carbon copies in the graveyard scene inside the mansion. So I'll pick that. There's just so much going on there, so many things to look at. There's so much to like about it. The singing bus are probably one of my favorite parts of it. But I also love when you're going backwards down into it, and you see the spooky old tree and the caretaker with the shivering dog and everything. I mean, that's so cool. My least favorite part of the haunted mansion is definitely at the Disneyland haunted mansion when you have to go up the little escalator, and it's so slow. You're just like, okay, because you're actually underground there at the Disneyland haunted mansion, so you have to go up this escalator to get out of the ride, and you're just sitting on this escalator and going up, and you go past little Leota at that part, and so you can hear her do her little speech, hurry back and everything, and you hear it probably while you're on the escalator. You can hear it like about 5 times. And so to me that just kind of takes away a little bit from it, and I guess plus okay, I'm leaving, and it takes so long to get out that you're just like, oh god, come on, let's just get this over with.
Right.
My favorite haunted mansion souvenir, I've got so many souvenirs from the haunted mansion that I love, but probably the one that I covet the most is my 40th anniversary Disneyland haunted mansion t-shirt, and that's the one that I wear whenever I have like a special thing to go to, if it's like a haunted mansion event or any kind of like spooky type of event. I'll wear that. Like I've worn that to like haunted walks and stuff like that, and I've worn it to I've worn it to a couple of paranormal investigations, and nice. So that's my go-to shirt. And my favorite mansion memory, and I've mentioned this before on Enchanted Tiki Talk as a guest, and that's when I was a little kid. My first time, I think I was like about 7 years old, 6 or 7. I just moved out to California, and I was bugging my mom, please take me to Disneyland, please take me. I want to go on the haunted mansion so bad because I loved it so much, and we went on it for the first time, and I pretty much hid my eyes the whole time. Once we were on the Doom buggy, my hands were over my eyes, and I'm like peeking through and stuff and everything. But as soon as I got off, I was like, "Can we go ride it again?" My mom's like, "But you had your hands over your eyes the whole time." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but this time I know what there is now this time." And
it'll be different.
Yeah, it'll be different. So let's go. So, and I think that we went like two or three more times that day. So that's definitely a huge memory in my mind.
That's pretty cool. So I kind of want to add a little amendment to my favorite souvenir. So right now, the record is my favorite souvenir. But if any listener out there can help me track down one of those Haunted Mansion tiki mugs. Because remember last year, Trader Sam's did the exclusive tiki mug, but now this year they brought it back and it's a different color.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Oh, you
serious?
haven't seen it? Yeah, no, like I'll send you a picture. Real-time conversation on the podcast.
I can't believe I haven't seen that.
I'll send you a picture. So last year it was like this bone white and the inlays were painted blue.
Yes.
It's the same bone white, but the inlays are painted red.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so it's not a huge difference, but it's like a subtle difference.
No, yeah. So, but I missed out on that first one, and man, I
missed out too, and I had a couple of chances, not to get one personally, but have friends get them. But then like once I saw like people talking about it on Facebook about how hard it was to get them and how you had to be there like right away, and it was like an hour-long wait and all this other crap. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to put my friends through that, And a mutual friend of ours, Robert Buxar, he actually got one. I forget who it was. It was one of his family members, I think, that went down there and got one, and he got it. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm so jealous of you,
I want you, and if he's listening, Robert, I want you and him to know how jealous I get every time he posts a picture of him drinking out of his.
Oh, I know. He always posts those pictures of him drinking out of his mugs and sporting his t-shirts.
Right. But hopefully we'll have better luck second time around.
I hope so. Well, hey, Jordan, it's been great. That's going to do it for our show tonight. We hope you enjoyed our spooky little forum this evening, and we absolutely wish you a happy Halloween.
I agree. Very happy Halloween.
Yeah.
And ghostly salutations from Jordan Gasly. And speaking of Jordan Gasly, which is me, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Jordan Gasly. I have a YouTube vlog that I try to update once a week, and you just go to YouTube and search Jordan Gasly. We talked earlier about me getting married on the Disney cruise. I'm actually slowly starting to put those vlogs up. So if you guys want to see what the Disney dream looks like, if you want to see what a Disney cruise wedding looks like, definitely go give me a follow or a subscribe on YouTube, and you can see some cool Disney stuff. But as far as my social media contacts, that about does it for me. Dave?
Oh, yeah, and you can follow me at DA Benner on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm on Facebook. And please follow my alter ego, Brother Dave. You can follow him on Twitter at Departed Dave. And we also we try to do a blog every Wednesday on the Enchanted Tiki Talk blog page. And that's called, what's it called, Jordan? Swinging Wake Wednesday. That blog is called Swinging Wake Wednesday. Okay, and you can follow me on Twitter at DA Benter and Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. And please follow my alter ego, Brother Dave, at Departed Dave on Twitter. And we also do a blog each week called The Swinging Wake on the Enchanted Tiki Talk blog. I think you'll enjoy that. We try to do a little story about some of the Haunted Mansion fans that follow us and everything, give a little insight to them and some love, and just think it's something that you guys will enjoy reading. Well, that's going to do it for us. And until next time, happy haunting, everyone.
Ooh.
This chilling episode of Enchanted Tiki Talk has been brought to you by mousepros.com. Let us plan your perfect Disney vacation. And mickeymonthly.com, where you can get the park sent directly to you. And by kingdomstrollers.com for all your premium stroller and crib rental needs. Also by Trader Sam's Coffee. Why not brew some magic in your home? And finally, woodies.com. Sunglasses for a glare-free view of the magic. You can follow my ghostly account on Twitter at Departed Dave. This has been Brother Dave speaking to you from beyond the spirit realm at Walt Disney World's Haunted Mansion. Thanks for listening to Enchanted Tiki Talk.